Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're here to talk about board games like we do on Wednesday episodes, which are sponsored by Gray Fox Games, our awesome weekly sponsors.
I was waiting for you to forget it.
Yep.
Nope. Just, like to keep the intro fresh so people don't think it's just pre-recorded jargon and nonsense.
Fresh due to your failures.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So I had an exciting kind of weekend / week, really. Last week I did a heavy cardboard stream on Monday. I had
The last Denver one.
the
right?
last for me of Denver.
Oh, was there
ones.
one more after
Yeah,
that?
they did two more after that. They did one
Okay.
Tuesday and then they did one Thursday.
So you had the third last.
I had the third to last. I was
You
on the third to last.
You got the
stream.
bronze medal in the last of Denver heavy cardboard stream.
Sure.
Which game was it?
I was actually a teacher. My second time teaching on heavy cardboard. I taught Welcome to with the new playmat that they had at Grand Con.
New playmat?
Yeah, they got a playmat for Welcome to now.
Like, is it just the same thing?
What do you mean?
Laminated? Like,
No, playmat
like-
for the cards.
oh,
Like a big neoprene playmat for
To
the
put
cards.
the cards on.
that sounds super useless.
It also had a brief overview of all of the action cards, which was
Okay.
kind of nice.
All right. As long as
Um,
it's not $45.
I have no idea how much it is. It's probably like $45.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And then Tuesday, though, I got to have dinner with Amanda because she was also leaving. Amanda, formerly of Heavy Cardboard. She has stepped down from Heavy Cardboard. We got to have dinner with her, see them off
Mhm.
into the Wild Blue yonder. And then I edited Wednesday instead of going to game night.
At Black Sky.
At Black Sky, which I still missed. I miss game night when I don't go, even if it's a venue I don't super love.
Yeah.
But I had to get the editing done since I was doing things Monday and
And-
Tuesday.
All the people that super loved it, like, only showed up for like an hour and then went to a show.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yep.
Punks. But then Thursday, my mom flew into town from St. Louis, and then my mom was in town all weekend. And she was in town Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, 4 nights. 2 of the 4 nights, me and her got real fucking drunk. So it's a quality visit from the parent.
Yeah.
So it was nice. It was nice. We spent a couple days here in St. Louis, here in Denver.
You ate a bunch of exotic meats.
The last night, correct?
Yeah.
We went to the Buckhorn Exchange, which is Denver's oldest restaurant,
Yes.
maybe even Colorado's oldest restaurant. I'm not sure if they claim that high a title. They supposedly have liquor license number 1 from the city of Denver.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, and it's just covered in all kinds of stuffed animals of all different kinds. Apparently, they have
Stuffed animals.
like taxidermied animals.
Very different.
Uh,
What a lovely room of death.
yes. The animals you're eating are gazing at you from the walls. It's amazing. They, in fact, even have a dork, which is a whale's penis.
Okay.
Because
I think I used to remember that was a fact.
the way the waitress said it, the way she told the story is that Ripley's Believe It or Not called them up and was like, "Hey, we've got a whale penis. We know you guys have a lot of weird, taxidermied animals. Would you also like this whale penis?" And
How could you say no to that?
And they said no, and Ripley sent it anyway, and they're like, "Well, it's here now."
I guess this
Let's
is
put it
ours.
up. And so they put it up, and so it was right there in the main dining room. Just
Great.
just big 6-foot long whale penis.
Hmm.
But it was cool. There's a lot of really good food. All of the food was amazing. We had for appetizers had fried alligator tail, which is kind of like calamari. It reminded me like similar chewy texture, different taste, but fried up like that with a cocktail dipping sauce. And then we had like a rattlesnake queso that had some really good heat to it and really good chips. And then I ordered a aged bison tenderloin that was to die for. Had a small elk rib medallion or something like that on the side that was pretty good. It wasn't my favorite. Certainly not the best elk I've ever had, but it was still really good. And then my mom and Megan both, in addition to my mom got an elk dish with 2 quail, and then Megan got a quail, a duck, and a Cornish game hen platter. And the duck was probably one of the best things of the night. The duck was phenomenal. So great food. Had 2 bottles of wine, multiple other drinks, and we're second to last leaving the restaurant at the end of the night.
I bet that bill was substantial.
I normally try to look at
And
the
you're just
bill
like,
when my mom buys my meal, so I just know roughly how much she's spoiling me. I didn't even get to see this one, but the server was a really sweet old lady who's probably worked there for the last 50 or 60 years. She took the bill, like she brought it. She's like, "Hey, no rush, but we're closing down the cashier stuff. So if you could close out your tab, so I could just do that, and then I can get out of here, and then you guys can stay as late, as you need to." And so my mom did real quick, gave her a card, came back. My mom signed it, and she came and got it. She came and got it, walked out of the room, and then came back around the corner and goes, "Oh my God, thank you so much, ma'am." So I assume my mom threw her a pretty generous tip.
Oh,
as
I'm
well.
sure, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was just like, you're like, that's one of the best meals experiences I've had. I'm like, yeah, well, at that price, you would hope so.
Well, I mean, the prices were actually pretty reasonable, I thought. They were standard steakhouse prices, $30 to $50 a plate, depending on what you got. Like Megan's 3-bird platter with a side and salad and soup was like $34.
It's not bad.
No. Mine was like $50-some because I got it was like 40-some for just the bison aged tenderloin.
You just wanted to eat as many different animals' penises as possible.
No, I ate 0 penises as far as I'm aware. They did have Rocky Mountain oyster on the appetizer menu, but since I know that theirs are the big, huge bowl version of Rocky Mountain oysters, and they're cooked a little bit different, and it's not a way I ever intend to try Rocky Mountain oysters. I have had Rocky Mountain oysters from young calves that were then fried like chicken nuggets and were quite delicious.
Gross. Delicious. But gross.
The other night of getting drunk was we went to William and Graham's, the speakeasy here in town.
Yeah.
Which my mom super dug. She
over,
thought that was really cool.
Where's that one?
It's over by Little Man Ice Cream.
Yeah, and it's right next to the punk industry bar.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Joined to it.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name of that place was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They got a good burger there.
Indeed.
Not Williams and Graham, but
Well, Williams Graham does too.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I guess it's all the same kitchen because it's all the same owner and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
they're joined.
The punk rock bar place has a $17 burger.
No, but I'm sure it comes out of the same kitchen.
Now that I would believe.
Yeah.
It was a very expensive burger, but it was also very, very good.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the trip, we went out to my grandparents' house, a little outside of Denver, hung out. Got to take the dog out. She got to chase rabbits. She did not catch any, but she got to chase them. Made her very happy. And we found out that my grandfather, who's a vet, thinks that the shelter was stupid and that she's not 14 months. He thinks she's 8 to 10.
Oh.
So she's younger than we thought, which explains a lot of her rambunctiousness.
Yeah.
And means she will probably continue to grow.
Yes.
So she is not, we've not even yet seen her final form.
Has not begun to peak.
So that was my weekend and week. It was a good week. I had a lot of fun. What about you guys? You guys getting anything exciting? Jeff, you went to a Beck concert. Made us record early last week.
I went to Beck on Monday. Beck was good. I came in with high expectations. The expectations were not met, but it was still a good show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Why did you have high expectations?
Because I really like Beck. But it was definitely more, I don't know. It was good.
Was it more laid back or just...
No, it was definitely high energy
Okay.
stuff. He had a couple little spots in there where they just brought the whole band down and did acoustic sets and stuff of some of his songs, which was real cool. Definitely a grand setup of lights and screens and things like that. Some Prince covers. The crowd wasn't really into it, which I guess hurts it a little bit because they were just a bunch of old people there, I guess. Old people like Beck.
Sure.
Or maybe they're just old now because they were
Beck
original
generation.
Beck fans.
Yeah, I mean, how long has Beck been around?
I think 93 is when his first album really came out. Wero or Odelay or something like that.
Because I do know that Beck will continue to exist 2,000 years in the future as a head in a jar playing a washboard.
1,000 years in the future,
Yeah.
sir.
1,000. I couldn't
Well,
remember.
and they obviously they bring people back to life when they
Yeah.
put them in a head jar. Otherwise, how else would you have George Washington's head? He's been dead for a while, so
Yeah.
we just know he'll be alive again.
Okay, fair enough.
And then Saturday I went and saw a show. Sunday I hung out and cooked and met all of Katie's friends.
Right on.
There you go.
How was that?
Good.
Time? Cool.
Made this jalapeno honey lime cilantro salad dressing.
Nice.
It's really good. Need the recipe. And a food processor.
Right on.
On Friday, we played Lamentations of the Flame Princess again. We did a little offshoot because not everyone could make it. So it was just 3 of us.
Mainly what it was is that first it was going to be one person couldn't make it, but they sort of like were driving a lot of the role play
Okay.
for it. So we were just like, we're going to do like a backstory thing, which took place 11 or 12 years before our story, I believe.
And we got to play like higher level characters, just sort of as a one-off little scenario. That was fun. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Combat light. There was only really 2 combat encounters the whole thing. Some crazy mutant dog, and then a whole bunch of crazy mutants.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
It was like a thieves guild had unlocked something, and then everyone melted. And then it was basically the thing, ye olde medieval times.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we did that. Saturday, went and saw a show with David.
Well, just I want to comment on the Flame Princess. One thing that
Yes.
I found funny was that so there was supposed to be a 4th person there, but she had to cancel, and so David ended up playing the 4th character.
Oh, yeah.
So our DM was playing one of the characters,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Okay.
a lot of times when we'd be squabbling about something to do, David would just be like, "Well, this character is going to start heading over this way." And we're like, I guess
This
that's
character's going to smash down the door.
Yeah. Because they're like, oh, we could try and do this or this. And he's just like, this character hits the door and breaks it. I'm like, okay.
All right.
But my favorite thing is that character, when we were in a pit, basically, where there was a whole bunch of those
Mutant dudes. Gross guys.
you cast a spell on somebody, or you tried to cast a spell, but it backfired and it caused
Miscast.
It miscast, and it caused that character, the one that David was playing, to start just spewing.
No, I cast that on purpose.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes. You need a willing participant, but they take like their hit die minus their constitution bonus and damage every turn, but then they deal double that amount of damage in like a spit that comes out of their mouth because they're just shooting fire out of their mouth at this point.
Not even fire, lava. Lava is coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're shooting at a distance at enemies, but it hurts them as well. So he was really the only one that had enough hit points left to be able to take it, and it was my last prepared spell.
But
I did miscast later,
Uh-huh.
and it just summoned like a copy of one of the diseased dudes.
No,
to
it
start
wasn't-
fighting all of them.
it wasn't even that. It was just like some sort of horror that was also similar to them.
Yeah,
But instead of the half dude, half creature, it was all 100% creature.
yeah.
But my favorite thing is that David's character, on the last round of him taking the fire damage, took enough to where he was going to die, except that
Since this takes place in the past.
this takes place in the past. But one of the quests that we're on is to go find said guy in the future. So David's just like, this guy is he's fine. He's just unconscious. He's not dead. He's not dead.
He's just almost dead.
Yeah.
Didn't want to create any time paradoxes. Someone also miscast at me and made all my skin come off. But
That's right,
but
yeah.
otherwise I was fine.
Mhm.
I just didn't have skin anymore.
Oh my god.
And
yeah.
and your intestines were sort of falling
Which is
out a bit.
weird. But that's not what happens when your skin falls
Yeah.
off. But
Well, it is in this world.
yeah.
'Cause you
But
also
apparently
you just lose all your abdominal fucking
Yeah.
muscles.
I'm no worse for wear.
Yeah, it grew back,
And then my skin started growing back 4 days later.
but like magically,
Magical.
where it's just like, ooh, and their skin, not like.
Yeah, I
weird.
was trying to figure out like how does skin grow back if you don't have skin? Where does it start growing back?
Yeah.
There's like a single skin cell left somewhere on your body.
And it just keeps multiplying.
Correct.
Wizard did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fucking wizards, man.
And yeah, that's Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
So you guys are still really liking it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I was a cleric of God Fieri.
that's right.
So
He would make all sorts of mayonnaises
Mhm.
to cure disease and such with. Basically, he turned all the regular spells into weird mayonnaise concoctions.
Yep.
And he put way too much work into creating this class.
Yeah, I told David as a joke, I'll only play if you make me a cleric of God Fieri.
Yeah.
And then he made me one, and I was like,
Like he has
Damn it,
components.
now I have to- yeah, I had
and
components.
mayonnaise and
my ward was a kid named Donkey who was a cleric in training.
maybe the future donkey sauce creator.
Yes.
Yeah. Donkey's ass? Is that what it is?
No,
Name
it's
of
just
the-
Donkey.
Well, no, the name of the inn.
Oh, it was Donkey's ass.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then we found blackmail for all the village elders, and you used it to blackmail them to create a small temple to the god Fieri in the city.
Yes. Because this was in England. So I was
Yeah.
like,
This is Norwich
Yeah.
specifically.
Yep. And I was like, how can I use that blackmail?
Oh, and
Obviously, to further God Fieri's cause.
also, we released dogs that were like
Oh,
trapped
yes!
inside at the beginning, and we threw food outside and then closed the gate, and then we just left a bunch of hungry dogs on the streets. And I was like,
Well,
Those
at the end, like he was gonna go, and I was just like, so David, because we were joking that dogs were gonna go
I was
kill
like,
children.
they're gonna go eat so many children.
And we're like, David, how many children do those dogs kill? And he just rolls some dice. 26 kids.
Oh my god.
when they started counting.
Yeah. This giant pile. It was horrifying.
It's horrifying. That's this game. It's just really weird
Mhm.
stuff. I had a bunch of magic things that were pretty cool. Like a big AoE mist that would just make people attack everything, just go berserk. And I cast it on like this big horde of them, and it was very effective.
Yes, it was.
So yeah, Lamentations. That was
Right on.
Friday.
Zach, what about you? What did you get into this weekend besides Lamentations?
I don't know if I did anything.
Fair.
I don't
Fair,
remember.
fair enough.
No. Let's just say no and then continue on.
No,
No.
we played Brass.
Well, yeah, we haven't gotten into the. Well, apparently we have gotten into the games.
Yeah.
'Cause Jeff was just like,
We were just talking about Lamentations.
Yeah, I
Well, and if
know.
you haven't done anything, then that covers everybody's weeks.
Yeah.
So, what games have you played?
well, I was just gonna say
I could continue and say like I worked a fuckload again.
yeah,
Now.
Yeah.
same as always, Jeff.
Same as it ever was.
Yes. So at Black Sky, some of us played Burgle Bros, and I was playing that one again. Still a good game. I like.
Continuing the Fowers tradition over
Yes.
the last couple weeks.
Yeah. But there was some miscommunication with some people, and
Things did not end well.
yeah,
I still haven't played Burgle Bros. So
Yeah, I haven't played it either. I would like to at some point. I keep hearing really good things.
Yeah.
But I haven't played it myself.
I was gonna ask you to play, Jeff, but you were
I was playing
Playing
Blood
Blood
Bowl.
like a loser.
Yep.
Or like a winner.
Or
But
like a winner.
no, that was just Matt. And then afterwards we played some Shut the Box, which is
Like a lot of Shut the
a lo-
Box.
the first time I ever found out about that game, it was me and David. We were at Wizard's Chest and we saw it, and we ended up playing for like at least an hour there.
That's definitely a game you can do that very
Yeah.
easily with. Let's sit around and just throw dice. Helps when there's beer.
Yes. And I know it's like I know you can do it as a betting game or anything like that, but it's still fun just to fuck around in. Have we ever talked about it on here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, it's an easy game. You have 2 dice, and then you have like 9 tiles that are numbered from 1 to 9. You roll 2 dice, and then say you roll a 7, you can either put that 7 tile down, or you can put like the 3 and 4 tiles down. You do any combination that just add up to that number, and then ideally the goal is to get all of the tiles down, and that causes you to shut the box. Otherwise, say you only have the 1 and the 5 left, and then you roll a 4, and so you can't add those together or get that number. So then you just whatever score your score is basically what numbers are left. Whatever numbers you have left, you just read them, and so that 1-5 would just be a 15, and that's your score.
Okay.
We played with 4 or 5 people, and it's for that one. It's just when you're playing with a bunch of people throughout a round. If someone gets whoever has the lowest score, so say Jeff rolls and he gets 386 or 368. That would be the only way you get.
Yes, correct.
You can't get 386.
Nope.
Then Adrian, both of us would have a chance at getting better than that. If we didn't, Jeff would win that round. If say I got 200 next, then both of you would have a chance to try and beat that as well until an entire
Someone
round
shuts it.
Yeah, until someone shuts it, or just an entire round goes by
Mhm.
and no one beats that score.
And there's like a million variations on it too.
yes, because I know there's some that go
rules-wise.
with all the way to 12.
Yeah.
Um.
That's how big the box is. Sometimes you just win the box.
Yeah.
You just get to take the whole box home.
We were playing with Matt, and 3 rounds in a row, what happened was he shut the box, which is great.
Yeah.
And then his next game, he got the worst possible score you can get in this
It's
game.
like
That's if you
1.3 million or something.
No, it's 13,456,789 if you roll Snake Eyes twice.
Yep.
That
Because all
is
you can
the
do is shut
worst-
the 2, and then you can't shut anything else with another 2, so
Yep.
you lose.
Jesus.
And then his next round, he shut the box.
Yeah.
So he was just like, yeah, I went from hero to 0 to hero. But I think the final one we played, Jeff finally won.
Yes, I think I got something remotely reasonable finally.
I think that was the one where you finally shut the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the last of like 12 rounds.
Yeah,
or whatever
exactly.
We played.
Yeah. But it's just one of those short games that you can just
Dick
like
around.
you're dicking around. You're basically talking with people while you're playing with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I that's one that I do see fairly common in breweries, like in just random places. Like there was a copy
Bars.
of it at a brewery in Marquette, Michigan, the last time Megan and I were back there. I was like, oh, that's Shut the Box. I haven't played that in a long time, but yeah, it's fun.
Yep.
Jeff, what about you? What did you play besides Lamentations?
I played Brass for the first time.
Yeah, and what did you think of Brass?
Brass, Lancashire.
Lancashire.
Correct.
The
Original
the
Brass.
ye
Brass.
oldie
Ye oldie.
Brass, but not actually
Not
that-
the actual year old
no.
one. Not the ugly one.
Yeah. I can understand why that game has been very popular with heavy gamers for many years.
It sounds almost like a backhanded compliment. Like I can understand why those heavy gamers like this game.
I mean, yes. Doesn't mean it's not a good game, but now I had never played it before. We went to Paul's new place,
Mm-hmm.
his cavernous
Oh,
first
jeez.
floor.
You haven't been there yet, have you?
No,
Oh my
I
God.
saw a bunch of pictures back when he first found it and was like waffling back and forth on whether to do it, and then was just finally like, fuck it, I'm doing it.
I don't think the pictures do it justice.
No,
No, it's
I never even went
massive.
upstairs.
Oh,
I saw you guys out on the like third floor patio.
It has 3 floors and a basement.
Did he have his new table from
Yes,
Edward?
which
Yeah.
I mistakenly thought was a game table,
Oh,
not just a table.
yeah. So
And-
did you try to take the topper off?
Yeah, and I was just like, let's take the leaf off. And then I open the leaf, and it's just I see the ground, and I'm like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's just a nice table.
Heavy Cardboard only has ever had the one, and it's like their custom branded
I
one for the studio.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of that stuff. So
Bastard.
But yeah, Brass was interesting. Played 4 players.
Mhm.
Went like 3+ hours, I think.
it
on
went
that
3.
one.
No, it went 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
That's a long game of Brass.
Well, we did sort of accidentally go one extra round. So
Wait,
Yeah,
you went an extra round.
there's 2 cards in there that are supposed to be for 2-player only that we didn't take out.
but not
which-
just that. Somehow somebody also forgot to get rid of cards or something like that.
Oh.
And so it was just like, well, if we just have hand, the 4 cards at the bottom at the end of the canal, if we just handed those 2 cards out, everybody would have the same amount of turns. So we were just like, all right, we're just going to do that. I don't know what happened, but
Okay.
so that's why our scores were higher, but it was still a good game.
I got 108.
Yeah. My cards did not help. I tried to do sort of the same thing I did in that first game I played,
Yeah.
but every single card I had was for the northern half of the map on the second during the rail era, and all my shit was built in the southern part, and I'm like, well, this is garbage. and because the iron market was just depleted, and I was like, the only thing I want to do is be able to build a fucking iron market, and by the time I could, there was so much iron on the board, it was annoying.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Who else did you play with? You, Paul, Jeff,
And Andrew.
Kaiser.
Yes, and he ended up winning.
Okay. Was it his first time as well?
No, second, I think. He played with you.
Oh, that's right. He did.
Yeah.
He did. I couldn't remember.
Mm-hmm. No, I sort of boxed myself out near the end where I couldn't get any good points, and so I ended up I was third, but I think I had 126, and then you had
108.
108, and I had 127, and then it was like I had 126, and then Paul had like 137, and then Andrew had 141.
Yeah, they were pretty close. They were
Yeah.
tight. It's a fun game.
Yeah. We'll be reviewing that shortly with kind of a compare and contrast episode, looking at that in Birmingham,
Which is the sequel / new.
yeah, spiritual
Yeah.
successor, whatever. Which I played this weekend. I took it up to my grandma's house when we went up there. Me, Megan, and my mom went up, and I figured it'd be a good thing to bring along in case everybody went to sleep. That Megan and I could play it, but I was not counting on the fact that we went up to my grandma's on Saturday. Megan worked Friday night, only got to sleep until like 12:30, and then had to drive out to my grandma's. So she was exhausted, so she went to bed kind of with everybody else. So I just two-handed it. She helped me set it up and played a couple turns, and then I just took over for her and played two-handed. Interestingly enough, I thought my left hand was crushing. And it turned out that the one to my right was the one that actually ended up winning.
Interesting.
I really like it though. They add the beer mechanic for building.
Which you need to like use to bribe or something like that.
No,
Grease the
it's just for when
wheels?
you ship just for the voyage to provide good drinking water or something because the
Okay.
water back then was bad.
Yes.
Is kind of how they explained it in the rules. Then they add a bunch more industries too. Like there's now in addition to just the cotton, there's like clay and I don't know what they call
Pottery.
the pot. Like
I
the
think it's pottery.
pottery is the one, and then there's something else.
Yeah.
That's like just a crate or something. That's another industry, and so there's more industries that you can build and
There's
do things with.
there's wilds
Yep.
that you can discard for.
So instead of in Lancashire, you could spend 2 cards to build something anywhere you want, build whatever you want anywhere you want.
Uh-huh.
In this one, you discard 3 cards. You discard 1 card for the turn, and then 2 additional cards, and then you take 1 wild location and 1 wild industry card
Oh, you get both.
that you get to use later.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a slightly more efficient version of that.
Gotcha.
I didn't end up using it at all in that 2-player game that I was
I don't
playing.
think we ever used that in
You
our
shouldn't
regular
be
game.
using that.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what they like. If you have to do that in Lancashire, you fucked up and you're in a bad spot.
Yeah.
And so I think they tried to soften the blow of that in Birmingham, and that's why you get the 2 wild cards that come
Yeah.
into your hand. So you're burning 1 card and getting 2 wild, but you're burning a turn. Like it takes a turn to get those 2 cards.
Yeah.
Then they changed around the markets essentially, so you don't have ports anymore. So you're not shipping to your own ports to flip them. You're shipping to the specific market spots around the edge of the board, but they only want certain industries. So depending on what industries you're building, you want to be careful what markets you connect to so that you don't get stuck not being able to ship.
Okay.
And they don't have that market cost thing, so nobody gets just fucked if they draw a bad tile on their turn shipping to the foreign market. So I don't know. I really liked it. I'm looking forward to playing it some more. And then I'll probably try and get one more play of Lancashire. And I've played Lancashire like 4 or 5 times over the years. I would like to maybe play one more after playing Birmingham a couple times just to see kind of which one I really solidify my opinions on the 2 of them. That was the main thing I played. I also played 2 more games this weekend of Now Boarding, a 3-player one with my mom and Megan and I, and then a 2-player one today with Megan and I after I got back to the house. It was really nice. I still really like Now Boarding. We just reviewed it. We all like it. And then I played I was out at my grandparents'. So I played a lot of card games. Hand and Foot Canasta is the main one we play out there. Megan and I had a hand where we got a run, which is a really hard thing to do, and we got a book of 2s.
Oh wow.
Which is another really hard thing to do. So it was like a
Of
36
2s?
Yeah.
Damn.
We had 7 2s, which 2s are wild. And Hand and Foot, Jeff, I don't know if you've played.
Nope.
We'll have to play sometime. It's a lot of fun, but it's really hard to get a book of 2s, like stupid hard. But we did it.
Because you're playing with 2 decks, so that would be 7 out of
Well,
8.
depending on the number of players, we were playing with 4 decks.
Oh, really? Okay.
We had 4 decks that we were playing with.
Oh, yeah, that's right. With hand and foot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's good.
Either way, it's still hard.
Really hard to get 7 2s. So, that's what I was playing. So, Jeff, have you done some blood bowling?
I have been blood bowling recently. Matt and I played Blood Bowl at Black Sky. We were originally going to play Tuesday, but he was sick over the weekend and bladed a day to play at Black Sky. It was my smashing Sorai versus his Damned Romantics, which is a necro team. Werewolves, Frankensteins, zombies, etc. Game started off well. He decided to park his werewolf next to one of my Saurus, which then hit him up against the edge of the field, and then I blitzed him with another Saurus and knocked him out of the field, and the crowd decided to rip him apart, causing one of his werewolves to be missed next game, failed regen, turn 1.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah, that would have been real rough. That's a player that is worth 150,000 gold.
I think that was his Juliet, right?
That was his Romeo.
Oh, Romeo, gotcha.
Romeo was out. All of his team is named after Shakespeare shit, like Macbeth, etc. So I had a real leg
Do you
up.
mean like Macbeth and then other thing? There are like it's already somebody named Macbeth, etc.
No, someone has not made. Yes, Macbeth and Hamlet and such.
Okay.
Things continued to not go well for him for basically the rest of the game. He probably couldn't roll over a 2 for the majority of his rolls the whole game. Which when you're trying to pick up a ball and you roll a 2 and then another 2, you ain't picking up nothing.
You ain't picking up shit.
Yeah. I kind of boxed him in and then just smashed him into the ground. Only really got, I think, 1 or 2 casualties the whole game, beyond the wonders of getting that werewolf surfed first thing. But that doesn't count as a casualty for me because the crowd is the one that smashed him into the ground. He hit one of my skinks, and then it went both down, and then the skink actually casualtied out the zombie that hit me, giving that skink his second casualty. His first being a witch elf that blitzed him and got both down. That skink's been real good at going both down and taking that other person out. Besides,
That's the jujitsu one, right?
yeah, it's got the jujitsu. He got a real good last turn play of being able to blitz the ball out from someone, and then being able to pick it up and be able to go for it twice to get a score because werewolves move like 8. So he was able to get off the ground, hit, bounced right, picked up the ball, dodged away, go for it for 1 score for him. But I had scored twice already. Wasn't able to shut him out. Apparently that would have been his first time he had ever been shut out. He continues the streak of not being shut out, and I ended up winning 2-1.
Nice.
Yeah. The KO King continues where I can't do anything but knock people out and get no casualties. My Croxigar continues to not get the MVP every time, even though I'm nominating him every game. He just needs his first team skill because he's not doing well getting casualties. I was blocking the shit out of Matt all game too because all of his dudes were there, and I just kept hitting him every turn and just wasn't getting the casualties for the star player.
Wasn't
points.
connecting.
Well, it was connecting. They were
not enough.
Yes, it wasn't hurting. But my next game is against Bullshit Paul and his Gator raid. So it'll be Lizardmen on Lizardmen. And Paul, unfortunately, got a misnix game on one of his Sorai. So he's only going to have 5 Sorai versus my 6 in the next game.
I hear you saying unfortunately, but I'm not connecting with it. I'm not feeling the emotion.
Yeah. I mean, he still has a plus edge skink with sidestep, so that's going to be hard. They have stunty, so they get their base dodge no matter what, no matter how many tackle zones they're going. So he has a 2+ dodge reroll to pretty much do whatever the hell he wants.
That's pretty rough.
So I'm going to want to hit that really hard.
Real hard.
Yeah. I think he'll end up having more block than I will, but I think I'm going to get a break tackle on one of my Saurus that gives me my strength as a dodge. So I would basically have edge 4 to dodge away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you can choose after you make the roll. So if I dodge away and roll a 6 and get it, I could choose not to use break tackle and just take the 6.
Gotcha. Okay.
Instead of having to, say I want to use it and then not need it, basically.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, that'll be coming up in the next couple weeks. I know Paul's moving and such into his fancy new abode. So
Yeah.
what's he going to do with his cube? He doesn't have a backyard to be able to play it in.
No, he does
He
not.
can just play it in the middle of the living room because it's probably big enough.
Probably, yeah.
Except you're throwing wood sticks at glass doors probably at that point. So
Yeah, I don't know about that. I might have to see if I can borrow that off of him.
Yeah.
Because I've got a nice big backyard.
that's true.
And the dog can chase the sticks.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
That's Blood Bowl.
Right on. Before we move on to news and Kickstarters, one final thing I did want to point out here. You may have noticed, dear listener, it's quieter in the background than it may have been in the past because we got the new AC installed at the house, so we don't have to run the big clanky in-room one here in the podcast.
I didn't notice. Did you have
Yeah.
that installed last week?
No, we got it
Okay.
installed today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about it. I took my mom to the airport, came back, the guy was there waiting. It's like, oh, fuck, that's today. It's nice. It's keeping things nice and cool in here, or at least not too warm.
Yeah,
We're not dying. It's not quite
It's also like getting colder outside. So
True.
which also helps.
Yeah.
true. All very true.
I mean, yeah, the air conditioner could be useless. You just don't know because it's getting cooler.
Oh, well, I've been watching the thermostat on my phone because I've got a smart thing.
Uh-huh.
You've
so
got a
I've been-
smart house.
I've got a smart house.
Unfortunately, the thermostat's not in here because then
True.
this room would be nice and cool, but everywhere else would be frozen.
Yes, correct. But yeah, that's it. So let's move on to some news and Kickstarters.
Yes. News and Kickstarters. Starting with news, as is tradition. Z-Man Games has announced a new game called Nabi.
Yeah, so this is an elegant cooperative game Basically a game about using cards, manipulating cards, to make a nice, pretty Zen garden. So there are 2 decks of cards. There are the rock cards, and then there are the restriction cards. And at the start of each game, you are going to combine them into sleeves so that it's different every time. So the 8 stone won't always have the same restriction behind it. You put them together every single game.
So it's a card crafting game,
Kind of, yes.
at least during setup.
Yeah.
Correct. So, and you could probably play it a few times with the same things and just see how it goes just by shuffling it up and seeing what comes out in what order. But each player is going to get a number of cards depending on player count, and then they're going to be laid out in front of them with the stone side facing up. You can look at the back of your stones to see the restrictions, and the restrictions are things like switch this stone with a higher number, or switch this stone with a dark stone. And there's light stones and dark stones and stones with points and stones without. And you're just trying to, and this is where it's a little vague and I'm not entirely sure, you're trying to get the stones in maybe numerical order or some kind of a pattern order. That's the one thing I have not found, what the actual goal of the game is. Yeah, there it is. A serene stone garden will have the stones in numerical order, either clockwise or counterclockwise. So, yeah.
It's only going to be $15, so nice little easy co-op card game.
Indeed.
About putting things in numerical order on knowledge that mainly you have and not all the other people.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's becoming a popular genre.
Yeah, using a little bit of hidden information.
Yeah.
And things.
But not quite completely silent, I doubt.
No, there's definitely, because it talks about, conversing with each other.
Yeah.
And working together. So, yeah, that's Narabi.
Next up at news, the creator of The Mind has a new roll and write game coming called Bricks, which is kind of like Tetris.
A Tetris rolling right, basically.
Yeah, I need it.
Yeah, so in this one, you roll the dice and they're going to tell you basically what shape and position it's in. And then you have to drop it down like you do in Tetris and start filling in the bottom. So in this one, they don't clear as you fill a row. It just stacks up. But as you stack higher and higher, you're going to cover different points along the thing. And if you get a certain height, you score double points. And you can earn energy that you can use to rotate the pieces so they fit better where you want them to on the board. And yeah, not a ton of information on it. But what information there is, it does sound like they have found a way to do a fairly convincing roll and write board game version of Tetris.
I'm sure the guy that made The Mind knows what he's doing.
Yes, Wolfgang Warsch.
And apparently we'll have up to 4 players solo and 2-player. I really want it. Hopefully there's an app. Roll and write app's been real popular lately.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there will be an app at some point.
Speaking of apps, Dragon Castle is getting an app here pretty soon.
Yes, so Horrible Games is bringing this to mobile, finally, along with an expansion for Potion Explosion. But mainly, we're going to talk here about Dragon Castle, which, Jeff, you've played before and talked about on the show. It's kind of like a Mahjong-esque game.
Yeah, I'm not shocked that there's an app for it because Mahjong is a classic Windows game.
Yes, it is.
That I played a lot. And this would definitely shuffle over to the app world very easily. Because I think there was a solo mode in the Dragon Castle as well. But it's coming out next year, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
Dragon Castle was a cool game, especially because there's a lot of different boards and things that you can play on. I only got to play on the base one, but a lot of different other setups and things like that that would make it real easy to fit over into a app version.
Right on. Next up in news, food chain magnate is getting an expansion called Ketchup Mechanic and Other Ideas. Ketchup Mechanism. Yes. So Splatter announced on their Facebook
and
page.
it's the Ketchup Mechanism, just as
the Ketchup Mechanism and Other Ideas.
Which, if it's not an actual ketchup mechanism, I'm gonna be so pissed.
It's definitely not going to be.
I know, and I'm gonna be so pissed when it's not.
Yeah. So they had a fun little post. So those of you who are familiar with like Splatter rulebooks and things, at the start of the rulebook, they always have like a fancy little blurb about the game that is completely made up, but kind of somehow sets it up. So like in Indonesia, it's something about like people trading rice and stuff, and like, you get the feeling that businessman got a really good deal. Or like in Zimbabwe, it's like, that guy brought more cows to this tribal meeting. He's clearly going to be doing well. Well, so they did something along those lines, and so it's a a conversation between a chef and one of their employees at the restaurant, where people are asking if there's ketchup, and the chef's like, "We don't serve ketchup." They're also asking if the restaurant will expand soon. There's a restaurant in the new quarter with all the roadworks lately. It's getting a lot of traffic. And then talking about sushi or kimchi and ice cream, or ketchup and coffee. But yeah, not any real information on what the expansion will actually include. They did in the comments. Somebody had mentioned maybe increasing the player count, which they said they would be interested in taking a look at. It's all still just going to be very much in play testing at Essen. So if you're at Essen, you can swing by the Splotter booth and maybe play test it. And I'm sure that post Essen, we will have a lot more information on the state of this expansion.
And they also mentioned Roads and Boats is very likely to be reprinted next year.
Yes, in 2019.
That one's been out of print for a while, right?
Yes, it has.
I know some people were happy at the thought of that being reprinted.
Yeah. Unfortunately, somebody did ask like if it could be in the same size box as like Food Chain, Indonesia, and Antiquity in Zimbabwe, all 4 of those.
Mhm.
They're like, nope, because of the way that acrylic overlay works, you can't really fold it and it won't fit in boxes of that size.
I guess I just haven't seen Roads and Boats out of a box before.
Yeah.
Just sitting unplayed on Paul's shelf.
Got a big plastic sheet that goes over it that you draw on.
Yeah.
Very choo-choo.
You
of them.
actually draw your roads on it.
Yeah. So like a choo-choo game.
Sure, Jeff.
Yeah,
Since
well-
I know that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Correct.
But yeah, no word on anything new for Zimbabwe or Indonesia, which people are also kind of curious
Yeah.
about.
Everyone wants
Well, that-
everything.
Will Indonesia ever come out, with the right sized pieces?
No.
It's a bridge too far. It's just
Yeah.
it's just not that-
Unlikely.
Yeah.
They're just going to reprint them incorrectly again.
Haha, fuck you guys.
Fuck everyone. Next up in news, they're making some weird games of really classic things for millennials or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
You sound so sure, Jeff.
Yeah, it's interesting. So the game of life, quarter life crisis. Now with crippling debt.
Yeah. So I'd seen something about this a little while ago. Essentially, the Hasbro is coming out with spoof versions of a lot of their famous games. So this particular one, Quarter Life Crisis, instead of starting with jobs that are awesome, like doctor and lawyer, you start with hundreds of thousands of dollars of crippling debt, and you try to make work multiple jobs and make ends meet. Not a lot of information about what's actually in the game, but it's definitely like a knockoff game of life.
And the goal is just to just get rid of your debt, not actually make money, just not owe any more money.
Yes. Some other ones they're doing is botched operation, sorry not sorry, have you or mystery date catfished,
Mm-hmm.
and Cluedo as what happened last night.
Which is basically the
The
Hangover.
Hangover. Yeah, combined with Clue. So
I mean,
Uh.
a Clue version of the Hangover.
yes, potentially less murder.
All Target exclusive, apparently.
Yes,
Because of course they are.
yeah, because Hasbro's all about that. So I don't know, some silly games if you want weird new takes on some of those classic games. You can find them at Target here pretty soon.
Or not, because they'll probably be immediately sold out and they won't get a resupply for months.
Also very likely.
Very likely. That's it for news.
That is indeed it for news.
On to Kickstarter, which we begin with Project L. Very well funded, 75,000 of its $17,000 goal, 1,400 backers, about 2 weeks left to go, and you can pledge this one for $57.
Yeah. So, speaking of Tetris-like games, this is kind of that way. So, it's a puzzle game for 1 to 4 players, and essentially you have a stack of tiles that have a different polyomino puzzle on them. So the really basic ones are like just one shape, and then they eventually get more complicated where you'll need a lot of pieces to work on them. And every one of them you complete gets you another piece. So you start off with just a very small limited number of base pieces, like a small square, a small rectangle, a small right angle, and then a slightly longer rectangle. And then you start getting advanced pieces, which are like the big
Literally
square, the
literal Tetris pieces.
the Tetris pieces. And so you're going to just be completing these puzzles as you go, earning more pieces, which will let you complete more and more complicated puzzles. So on your turn, you can do the three of the following actions. You can take a new level 1 piece. You can upgrade a piece. You can take a puzzle tile. You can have up to 4 unfinished puzzles at a time. Or you can place a piece on your puzzle. And only once per round, you can do a master action where you put a piece on all of your puzzles. So you can slowly get to a point where maybe you could do a master action and knock out a bunch of puzzles all at once or something, if you were crafty. So yeah, the component quality looks pretty solid. I like the recessed boards for the challenge tiles that you're trying to complete there. They look pretty awesome.
They have a print and play version available. I was hunting for rule book, which doesn't look like there is one.
No, but this is one like the gameplay doesn't seem so over the top where I feel like there's not a rule book. What?
Yeah. But there's a bunch of playthroughs and stuff, videos, etc., reviews. Maybe with the print and play version, there's actually a rule book. I bet there is.
Probably, yeah.
Need to know how to be able to play. Yeah, there is.
Yep.
There is definitely a rule book in with the print and play.
And it looks like the Kickstarter edition comes with two Kickstarter expansions. The Ghost Piece one, which adds new puzzles and up 5 like ghost pieces, which are basically like level 5 sort of things, and then an ambassador pack too, which adds some more
puzzles.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
and a fancy first player marker.
It's a coin. It's telling you insert this coin. Doesn't say where though. So
you know where.
It's not. No.
So yeah, Project L looks cool.
Yeah, it does. Hopefully, give it a try sometime.
Up next is Periodic. Very well funded, 124,000 of its $12,500 goal, over 2,400 backers, and about 2 weeks left to go, which you can pledge for $29.
So, in case you didn't have enough games about periodic table and elements with compounded, you can now get Periodic. And it plays 2 to 5 players, takes 30 to 40 minutes, where you're going to be activating periodic trends, such as decrease atomic mass, increase atomic radii, to move your piece around the periodic table. If you're the first person to reach an element, you discover it, which will earn you points, and then you are trying to end up in specific families of elements to gain academic achievement points or whatever that move you along a track for that, which will also result in additional points depending on how far up that track you go. And yeah, it's a simple game. You have 2 actions. You can pay energy to activate multiple trends, or you can take all of the energy sitting on a single trend and activating only that single trend. And then moving your flask around the board, scoring your elements, and trying to get those scientific achievements. Players will have goal cards that'll give them a little bit of what they should be going for specifically, so not everybody's just racing around doing the same thing. And
like trying
pretty simple.
Yeah, like you'll have an objective of like organic life where you need hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, and collecting those specific materials and get extra points and such. He's made a bunch of other ones. I think we've talked about a couple of these. Subatomic, I think, was the most recent one.
Yeah, there's like ion and
covalence, cytosis, peptide.
A bunch of science games.
Yeah,
definitely all about the science.
Which I think you can get all of on this one for a mere $159. I don't think we've played any of them though.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I've seen some playthroughs of some of them, but
yeah, it was just play other sciencey games that you've purchased.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. This one, it might be interesting. It seems like it might be a little bit too simple for what I'm looking for in games. It's also super freaking pastel color scheme and pastels. I'm a monster.
We'll get to that later, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's Periodic. Next up in Kickstarters is Key Flow. Another well-funded 34,000 of its $13,000 goal, 716 backers, and about a week left to go. And you can pledge for this one for $52. So
this is, not to boil it down too much, it is a card game version of Key Flower for 2 to 6 players. So thus the similarity in the names, Key Flow, Key Flower.
Just remove the ER.
Yes.
I'm glad. Even has the ship in the background.
Yeah.
Yep.
but it plays over 4 game rounds or seasons, which a lot of the Key series does. But you're going to be playing cards into your tableau. Basically, everybody gets a bunch of cards, and then you draft them. And instead of drafting your whole hand and then playing them out of your hand in whatever order you want, each turn you take whatever cards you have, you pick one card, you pass them. But before anybody picks up the pile of cards, you go around and play the card you just drafted. So then you'll get to play your card before you even see what's coming up from the next hand that you're gonna be drafting from. And you're placing into 2 rows. There's a building row and there's a river row where like ships and endgame scoring kind of stuff go. And cards can be either buildings that will go in one of those 2 rows, or there are meeple cards that will let you activate buildings in your tableau or the adjacent tableaus. So like in a 4-player game or more, there will be boards you can't interact with. You can only interact with immediate left and right.
Gotcha.
Not entirely sure how some of the things from Keyflower are going to carry over, like keeping workers that are played in front of you. I didn't get a chance to really go all the way through the rules. But
It's a pretty basic campaign page.
Yeah.
I don't really have much on there.
which is pretty standard for Richard Brees in the Key series. Additionally, if you are interested, you can pledge a little bit to get in on the Pledge Manager, where they will have Keyflower, a bunch of expansions for Keyflower, Key to the City of London, Keeper, and Inhabit the Earth, which is another one of their games. So you can get a bunch
Doesn't
of
have the key in the
old
name.
Key series games through the Pledge Manager if you just want to get a nice big box full of Key stuff.
Yeah. It looks like there's a actual Keyflower tile tied in with this Kickstarter as well. You can pledge for like $5.
Okay. Guess it wouldn't terribly surprise me.
More Key.
Indeed.
Everyone likes that Key stuff.
Key's real good.
Next up on Kickstarters is The Climbers Extra Large and Alternate Art version. This one is not very well funded. $14,000 of its $100,000 goal. 155 backers and about 2 weeks left to go, and you can pledge for the XL version for $99.
Yes. Or if you want just the alternate art night edition, it's $40. So Clay from Capstone had an XL version made for cons and such.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what I assumed that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and is often the case. You have a cool version like that, and people are like, hey, where can I buy that?
Like the Azul giant.
And you hear that enough, and you go, well, hey, maybe there's enough interest that I can do this. The problem is that the 200 people who all want it are the 200 people who came and talked to you at the convention. It's not like a small sample size.
You're right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's struggling a little bit there. It is a massive and impressive scale for Climbers XL.
50% larger.
Yes. It is. They've got a couple comparison shots on there. It is substantially larger.
I mean, it's 15 pounds of wood.
Yeah.
So
It's a big, heavy box. Thus the £99 or the $99 price on it.
MSRP $150.
Yeah,
You
that
get
much
$50 off here, I guess.
Yeah. That much wood components is going to set you back a bit. And I guess from talking to Clay in the past, Climbers is pretty labor intensive to get built and painted and done.
I'm not surprised.
As far as games go, which is part of the reason it took so long for it to get remade. Climbers is an old game that he finally got redone.
Yeah, I think the main problem, at least from what I'm seeing about the campaign, is just it seems like most of the people that have Climbers already have, like, they would want Climbers, they already have it. And it seemed like, I know you don't like pastel colors, so that would drive you to get the night edition just because it's not pastel, right?
If you didn't
Yes.
already own.
Would you still, you already own Climbers, would you get the night edition?
I am actually interested in the night edition because it can also be used. You can combine the two to play a 10-player game.
Oh god, no.
Which I think sounds kind of interesting. And then I do really prefer the color scheme on the night version to the color scheme on the regular version.
It's green and orange for me.
But even at that, Climbers, it's been not getting a ton of play recently, so I wasn't looking for more of it.
Right.
And although I think 10 could be fun, like novelty game night thing, I
Mhm.
think it'd be kind of that. It'd be novelty.
Yeah.
That's the kind of game that would take a long time.
And it would really weigh your bag down.
Oh my god, yeah. 2 copies of the Climbers. Oof. Another thing that is interesting to me on this Kickstarter page is they have a little rules overview with some GIFs, and they seem to indicate that on your turn, you move a block and then you move literally as far as you can legally move up and sideways, not diagonal, not down. Which is not at all how, like, from the rules, and I'll have to pull them out and double check. From the rules in the base set that I had heard was you make one move, then you place a block, and then you make one more move. And I thought that was it. But they definitely, like, even in the GIFs, so it's not even a misprint, they show pieces moving multiple steps in one turn, which is shocking to me. That would definitely change a lot of how the game plays if that's the case.
Wasn't the most clear rule book to begin with.
No, it had a couple issues.
Here are the rules. Player turn, you may optionally move your climber across and or up the structure as far as legally possible. You may optionally move or rotate an unoccupied free block, and then you may optionally move your climber across and or up the structure as far as legally possible again.
Which I wonder if those are new rules, though. Like, I need to go, because I'm almost 100% certain.
And this
my
is
old
from their
rules did
website,
not
so
say that.
this is from their website versus
Interesting.
so.
Yeah, I think my old rules. I'll have to double check them. Maybe I've just been misreading how to play this game for ages. That makes me want to play it again now that I know that that's how it can be played. So, but yeah, that's Climbers XL. If you're interested in the giant version or just a night version to get to 210. If you don't have Climbers yet, you should jump on here and get it through here. Hopefully help it to succeed, which is looking like it might be a stretch at this point. So, what have you got to lose?
It's a pretty big goal they got.
Yeah. I assume they thought there was more demand.
That's
for the
what I think a
XL.
lot of it is 100,000 even at
Still need
that's
like-
1,000 of the night or of the XL
Yeah.
copies.
Even Azul was like, we need 500 people
Uh-huh.
to be able to ship this.
Yep.
I don't remember how much Azul was. XL. Oh, that was like $300 or something.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
wasn't
stupid
Yeah.
expensive as well. Yeah.
Next up in Kickstarters is Haname Koji playmat and promos. Quite well funded. $10,800 on their $1,000 goal. 499 backers. About a week left to pledge this one. You can get the playmat for $45 or the promos for $5.
Or the game itself for $19.
Yes,
Or all of them.
for like
$59.
$59.
Yes.
and an art print for $89.
And a mouse pad for $10.
Is there a mouse pad?
Mouse pad add-on.
There you go.
So this is a playmat for Haname Koji.
And the game and it's a way to get the game itself.
Is it not like readily available currently?
It kind of comes and goes. I don't know
Okay.
where it
Yeah.
really is right now. And then a couple new promo cards, which as far as I can tell, just alternate art versions, right?
Yeah, no,
Very
100%.
much
They're just
correct.
art, but it's nice art. And my worn ass fucking cards could use with replacing a couple of them.
Right. Yeah. We've gotten a lot of play out of your copy.
Yeah. I mean, and like the playmat is just it's. I mean, it's if you want to play on on that art, go for it. But it's not.
Because there's really not even.
It's not like there's slots or anything for cards.
No.
It's just sort of a rainbow of colors.
I mean, it looks really nice, but
Yeah. The rainbow of colors match up with the card that goes on them.
yeah.
And I guess, it gives you a little bit more, like you could slide the card depending on who has it closer or further away. I don't know.
I mean, the mat is 100% a want, not a need.
Yes.
You do not need the mat whatsoever.
No.
But I mean, if you just had an extra $45 and really like the art,
Must be a good problem to have.
yeah.
I guess they'll all also be numbered, the
Okay.
playmats, which is weird.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to make sure you get a special limited run one,
Mhm.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I would not be against doing $5 for the promos and $10 for a mouse pad.
$45 for a Haname Koji playmat seems like a lot.
Oh no, I would agree with that.
For something very much unnecessary.
Definitely paying for the art and production of the playmat.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. But this is pretty much just the North American market, so it's free domestic shipping, which is nice.
That's always nice. But also a good way to get Haname Koji if you don't have Haname
Exactly.
Koji.
Yeah. That's I like how someone was in our Slack was like, I'm waiting to hear what the Mile High Game guys think about Haname Koji, and I'm like, apparently you haven't been listening to us.
Yeah.
If you you do not know our opinions on it.
We love Haname Koji. We've all played it a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And we have also reviewed it in our
Two-player set
two-player
collection.
episode. Yeah. So go back and check that out if you're curious.
Mousepad.
That's
Yes,
it. That's
yep.
it for Haname Koji playmat, mousepad, promos.
Promo's probably worth it. I'm not so hot on the playmat. Up next in Kickstarters is Centurion, the Elderwood deck box. 23,000 of its $5,000 goal, 201 backers, and about 3 weeks left to go. And you can pledge this one for $85, unless there's a couple early birds left for the $75 pledge as well.
I mean, so you know why we're talking about this, right? Because he used the word bespoke.
Of
That
course,
was-
yes. Of course.
So these are really fancy deck boxes for like Magic and Dungeons and Dragons. They've got some different options. Like the Dungeons and Dragons, one of them they show holding some dice and like I don't know, a little scroll. It's hard to kind of tell what's actually in it.
You can put like minis and stuff in there. It's got like a little carrier
Yeah.
that you can put into the deck box.
Yeah, a little tray that slides out of the back, little room for a little small dry erase pad for tracking like health or damage, things like that. And they have
And very customizable.
yeah, and for the D&D one, they've got a dungeoneering kit that's like a little thing you can slide in that's got spaces for like your mini or multiple
Coins.
minis. Looks like you can hold like 8 minis in it.
Well, look, no, I think it's just 4, but it's technically like on the example they use. They have a mini, some money, like a potion vial that has dice in it, and then like a dice
Oh, and then some
tray and some cards
in
on the back.
Okay, like the GIF they show pulling it out, it definitely looks like it's got at least a couple minis in it, and I can't.
Oh
quite
yeah,
tell.
that one had 2.
Oh, and then
Yeah,
a dice tube. Yeah, so
Yes.
it's a dice tube, is what
Yep.
that was. Yeah. So, highly customizable. You can choose your different foil and leather and different signature art that goes on it, and different wood type
For your
or not wood
100
type on this one.
100 card sleeved EDH deck that's all blue. You can
Mhm.
go ahead and get water put on the front of that.
Correct.
Also, you're insane.
Yeah, this speaking of wants but not needs. That's kind of where this is. I don't have nearly enough cards for D&D to need a deck box. And I guess maybe if I end up buying a cool mini later, then
Is it going to
something
be
like that.
is it going to be a paladin?
Well, my current character is in fact a paladin. so-
Also, all of your previous characters across all time?
no, not all of them across all time. Any of them recently. My
Maybe-
last 3 characters have all been paladins.
Maybe vast majority is better wording.
I've played 7 total game sessions as a paladin because the other 2 games collapsed so quickly that I'm essentially just been retweaking the same character, trying to actually get a chance to play the character I want to play.
Everyone is just like, "Ugh, playing a paladin again. I don't know if I want to do this now.
Well, he almost died, so and when he dies, I'm not going to be a paladin again.
Was everybody just like, come on? Oh,
No, because the people I play with aren't dicks. I play with
Mm.
cool people
I don't know why you're playing with them then.
Yeah.
because it's fun to not. Yeah,
He couldn't finish that lie.
No.
just save it for another time. Anyhow, that wraps up Kickstarters. Yeah, so we actually have some listener feedback. First up, in Jeff's favorite fashion, we have an email all the way from the land down under.
This email comes from Matt from Australia.
Yep.
MHGG Aussie Update Edition. Hey, MH Game dudes. How the fuck are y'all?
Good. We're good.
It's been ages since I emailed in, mostly because I'm on Slack, but I wanted to give everyone the greater benefit of an update. I'd apologize for the length, but I hear it's quantity over girth that people like now. My wife and I have been playing Gloomhaven almost every night. Fuck setting that game up. Very much correct. Took us close to an hour before we started to play. Her Spellweaver is bullshit OP and was killing almost everything until we realized that we were playing with the wrong modifier deck.
Yeah, that would be. I'm assuming they
Yeah.
were using the
Like all the like upgrades and stuff
yeah
in there.
the fully upgraded deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing has like no negatives, so that would be why it was overpowered.
Yeah. Or couldn't miss.
Yeah.
My Cragheart is okay. I feel like he will get better as he levels up. Incorrect.
I've seen some people like really like that character, so I don't know if it's just.
I'm
like,
just maybe not playing with the right cards, or I have
or
to
you
be.
just suck.
I
Jeff.
have to play healer bitch like the whole time. I can't go DPS because no one else can actually heal.
I heal myself,
Yeah.
so really you can blame Ant and Paul for that.
Yeah. So as some of the Slackians might have seen, there was a big sports ball event here in Australia over the weekend. I had my outlaws over and cooked a barbecue, and
I believe it's supposed to be in-laws.
yeah, I thought maybe he
No.
put them on there purposefully as outlaws. And Ofer?
Yeah,
and
who's
I?
one of our
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Slackians. I don't know.
Slackians.
Something like that. Slackers.
I had my outlaws over and cooked a barbecue, and Ofer and I kept up to date via Slack. I'm not sure how many messages there were, but I doubt anyone read them. So here goes to summarize.
I saw 110 messages in the sports channel.
Yeah.
Oh,
at one point.
I always tune that out.
I'm just not in the sports channel.
Well, here's the thing. I went into it when it was the World Cup, and I've noticed that it's become a lot less interesting since the World Cup has been over.
Haha.
Lies and blasphemy.
The clash of the birds as the West Coast Eagles, my local team, took on the Collingwood Magpies, likely our most hated team, in the Australian Football League Grand Final. You know where we use our feet to move a ball a lot and punch it when we use our hands instead of throwing it, and then stopping the game for a minute to catch our breath and fix our chest pads. Australian football, I've heard, is kind of weird.
Yeah, reading through their thing about it makes me like I thought it was closer to American rules than it apparently is. It seems quite different.
Slightly more rugby-y.
Yeah.
The finals always played in Melbourne, and even though Eagles finished better on the latter than the Pies, Collingwood had a home ground advantage, as evident by a sea of black and white. Black Eyed Peas sang a few songs. Weird. It was terrible, as the acoustics aren't really meant for this type of theater.
Also, it's the Black Eyed Peas, so it's probably always going to be terrible.
Yeah. Then Jimmy Barnes played, and if that didn't inspire the fans, Mike Brady did his classic Up There Kazali,
I would say.
A song about AFL and a player named Roy Kazali, although he was actually a VFL player. Not sure what VFL is.
Victorian Football League?
We may never know.
I'm sure we'll get an update
Yes.
via email to tell us.
The Pies banner fell apart before the team could run through it, and that didn't deter them as they charged the first quarter with 5 goals / 30 points to the Eagles' 1 or 2 points. For context, a goal is when the ball goes through the middle upright posts worth 6 points, and a behind is when it goes through the smaller posts either side. Lots of finger gun pointing and flag waving. There are other rules, but that's the gist. It wasn't a great start until the Eagles seemed to have the jitters before a Rioli toe-poked goal spurred on the rest of the team. This sounds very British. The second quarter, the Eagles kept their Pies rather scoreless, as the defense of players such as Schofield and McGovern kept the attacking Pies players tied up, but as soon as the ball went forward, our guys just couldn't find a way through. A relatively meh quarter apart from explaining free kicks to Ofer and the rules. Second half starts. I'm serving food, hot dogs and kebabs. Ofer kept me updated, and giving the oohs and ahs. I guess the game is starting to turn. Eagles score their own 5 unanswered goals and start to claw their way back into the game. Players are starting to make tackles stick, and the defense continue to stop anything coming through. There is still a lot of poor kicking and turnovers, but it is now within reach. Australian football is weird. Fourth and final quarter starts. The game is getting intense. Every tackle now has to stick. I don't know what sticking tackles is.
Like they have to get the tackle. Like the tackles are more important. You
Oh,
can't,
okay.
You can't be like half-assing your tackle and letting the guy get by.
Gotcha. So
That's what I assume.
Hit them
Yeah.
harder.
Wrap them up.
The big American ruckman Mason Cox steps up for the Pies to show them how to mark the ball as the Pies inch away. Fighty midfielders of Shuey start to win the ball and are awarded with Eagles free kicks. I have no idea what any of these things mean. 4 minutes until the end of the game. A kick into the Eagles attacking 50 sees Sheed mark the ball on the far right side of the goal, 45 meters out. A tough angle and arguably not an easy kick. If it's anything like rugby, you get like a kick, like depending on where you scored it in the end zone. I assume that's something that's similar to this.
I don't.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, like
Because I don't know about rugby either.
well,
Yeah.
that's why it's called a touchdown. You actually have to touch the ball to the ground, which
Yeah.
you don't have to do that in football anymore because it was people would just be like, "Hi, you're going," and then just knock it out of their hands. But in rugby, you touch down and then you can kick into the uprights, but you have to be on the line where the ball touched in the end zone.
Ah.
I assume that's something what he's talking about here.
I'm assuming similar. I mean, in American football, like depending on where the the ball is down on the field as far as like left to right,
Yeah.
that's also where you kick the field goal. So like some teams will be in field goal range and run a play to just kind of center it up so it's a nice straight kick instead of a weird angle.
Yeah.
But that's a thing you can do in American football that I don't think there's really that in rugby or American
Yes.
or Australian football.
Eagles are down 72-74, a very high score, and the pressure must be building.
I mean, we would have to assume
I
that
would have
may
to
be a low score.
Maybe
Like
this whole sport could be made up. I don't know. There's controversy about around whether he took an extra step or was trying to stop and get balance. The umpire saw it as a mark and not playing on, but a huge moment for any fan.
Which I'm curious about that. Like, is it like something like traveling in basketball where you can only take so many steps before you kick?
Maybe.
And he looked like he maybe took an extra step?
Maybe.
I don't know.
So Sheed, game on the line, steps back and kicks it straight through the middle uprights. 78-74 Eagles, 3 minutes to go. Still plenty of time as the ball goes end-to-end a few times. Jack Darling, who has been quiet for the first half, dropped a game-winning mark in the goal square, which would have sealed the game, but a scramble to recoup the ball sees it go through as a behind 79-74. 1.5 minutes ago, Collingwood kick from their defending end out, and it's rushed through the midfield to Pye's forwards. The ball comes loose and booted back towards Eagles' goal. Another dropped mark, and players charge to pick it up the ball and then are tackled once again. The final siren goes off, and the Eagles win. The closest grand final since 2010. The Eagles only led the game for 9 minutes of the 130-minute game.
Jesus.
Last time they won was 2006 in Collingwood. Who cares? Way back when it was the VFL. Haha.
so they changed. I looked. They changed it from VFL to AFL.
I
in
see.
90.
What
something.
did VFL stand
It
for?
is Victorian.
Okay.
So that's it. Fuck yeah, fuck you, and fuck off. Matt.
Cool.
Well, that was an update.
That was basically Australian Super Bowl, which it was funny in the Slack channel. They were talking about it. And apparently in Victoria, they get Friday and Monday off for this weekend. Like, it's like a local holiday.
Wow.
Which, you know, the world would be so much better. Well, America would be so much better if we would just get the Monday after the Super Bowl off. Everybody who doesn't care about football would get a free day off that they wouldn't have to give a fuck about. Or they'd just be like, hey, I get a free day off. And for everybody who does like football and stays up all night watching the Super Bowl, they don't have to go to work the next day. They can actually have a Super Bowl party.
That's it for emails.
That is indeed it for emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com
Yeah.
if you would like to send us an email.
Indeed. No follow-up on past BGG posts this week. We did, however, have a pair of new comments over on Paulo's Corner from Paulo himself.
Paulo's YouTube corner.
Paulo's YouTube Corner, yes. He agreed with us. I believe we were saying something about, in his previous comment from the week before, about not wanting us to put video on YouTube. We were, worried about having him be angry and coming for us. And he says, yes, you don't want an angry Portuguese guy out to get you. You'll never sleep well again. Joke's on you. I don't sleep well.
Exactly.
As it is.
Yeah.
And then
That's the secret. I never sleep well.
And then a follow-up comment, you don't get why people say Speakeasy and Sagrada are similar, or one is an upgrade of the other? People say stupid things and jump to extra stupid conclusions just because the two games have different colored dice. I haven't played Speakeasy, but from the video I saw, it's the only thing in common. Colored dice drafting. It's the same thing. A thing that really gets on my nerves is when people say that Yokohama is Istanbul on steroids or Istanbul 2.0. The only thing those games have in common are the location tiles that you travel through. Nothing more. But somehow that's enough. And yeah, I think a lot of that comes from people wanting to tie games to other well-established and well-known games.
Yes.
Both from a producer, publisher
Mhm.
standpoint. Like, hey, our game's like that
It gives,
other game.
it gives
Some
people a connection.
legitimacy,
Yeah.
too. And then people sometimes jump to conclusions based on what they see without actually knowing. So, yeah. Thanks, Paulo, for the updates from Paulo's Corner. We did gain a new patron. So welcome, Russell, to the Mile High Game Guys patron realm, I guess. I don't know.
There's got to be a better word for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
we got to find out. We got to come up with something that we can call the supporters of the show.
Oh, no.
No,
No.
no,
Uh-uh.
patrons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fans. In addition to pledging to support the show, Russell sent us a message through Patreon. He says, He is pledging because it warmed my heart to hear Jabroni, Jobber, and Kayfabe on Board Gaming's Most podcast. So I think Jeff gets the credit for this one.
Yeah.
Talking about wrestling.
Indeed.
Maybe we need to give him, when there's no bloody minute, we'll give him like a wrestling minute where he'll just talk about old school wrestling.
Oh, old school. Okay.
The time I watched.
That one time. He's only seen it once.
That's just the one time. Yeah.
He was flipping in a commercial for something else. Like, oh, okay. And then
It's like,
back.
oh, USA. It's wrestling now.
He turned it on and somebody was like, "You jabroni jobber, you're such a kayfabe." And he just took those 3 words and
That is not it at
No.
all.
no.
I can't believe how wrong the things that were coming out of your mouth were.
You'd say you jabroni jobber, you're a kayfabe.
You're such a kayfabe.
Oh, you're such a kayfabe. Okay.
I have no
They're
idea.
all kayfabe. They don't.
Yeah.
It's not like some people are more kayfabe than others.
It just means you don't break the role. Like you don't break your character, rather.
It's
Oh.
it's you always are pretending that it's all real.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kayfabe.
Yeah.
Okay. Kayfabe was the only one I really did not know.
You know what a jobber is?
Yeah, because you explained it.
Do you remember
do you
what
remember?
jobber is?
They're the guy. They're like the real low level guys who are just out there like getting whooped on and.
Well, that's a squash match. That can be anyone. A jobber is specifically someone that literally has no name, no tights, no entrance, no nothing. And then they usually are squashed by, I don't know, Goldberg would come out and just like rip them in half like a phone book. Just
That's
like
not
from,
easy to do.
from the legs.
In some related news, next week, I'm sure part of my update will be my response to the Conor McGregor Khabib Nurmagomedov UFC match on Saturday. Because I am hyped as fuck for that shit. I really hope Khabib frickin' crushes
I'm surprised.
McGregor.
Surprised he came back.
Fuck McGregor. Yeah. So thank you, Russell, for supporting the show. We really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you very much.
If anybody else would like to support the show, you can always do so over on Patreon, patreon.com/milehighgameguys. Otherwise, if you want to get in touch with us, there are a plethora of ways to do so. You can send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can jump over to our Board Game Geek Guild number 2731, where there are weekly episode posts. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram /milehighgameguys. And we are all on Twitter. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHG.
And our Slack channel is a great way to interact with all of us, except for Jeff, who apparently doesn't even always know who people are on Slack from the email earlier.
I'm busy at work. I can't sit on Slack all day.
I mean, I do a lot of my slacking outside of work. I do Slack a lot at work, but I do a lot of it out of
Oh,
work.
you do? I've never noticed.
But yeah, you can find a link to join the Slack channel over on our website, milehighgameguys.com. And, we heard from Paulo earlier with Paulo's Corner over on YouTube, youtube.com/milehighgameguys, if you just want to listen to the audio of the episodes on the YouTubes. So, like I said, plenty of ways to get in touch with us. We would also be remiss if we didn't talk about Reavers of Midgard, which now has a Kickstarter date of November 1st over on Kickstarter. And Reavers of Midgard is the successor to Champions of Midgard, a game that was
Successor in the universe.
it follows it. And Champions of Midgard, of course, was mentioned multiple times during our recent worker placement episode. Not to mention we did a full-on review of it. So in Champions of Midgard, you were on your way trying to become a Jarl of the Vikings. In Reavers of Midgard, you're going to be trying to gain glory through just a whole bunch of raiding and pillaging. So you're going to be attacking castles, battling with people and monsters in the open seas, and raiding villages for loot and things like that. And in addition to your rowdy crew of Vikings that you were recruiting in Champions, you are now going to need to get a crew of elite warriors, the Reavers. And Reavers can be used in 3 different ways. They can be made your ship's leader, giving you a one-time bonus and enabling your warriors to be more versatile. They can be used to rally more warriors to your cause, filling your ship to the brim with the right fighters. And finally, they can be used to help your crew specialize, earning you a bonus every time your crew sails into battle. So We'll see as the Kickstarter nears closer and more information comes out exactly how some of those mechanics are going to come together and exactly how the gameplay is going to go down in Reavers of Midgard. But for now, you can jump over to greyfoxgames.com/Reavers of Midgard and see some awesome artwork of some truly terrifying beasts and things like that. So, looks pretty cool.
Yes, I would agree.
Jeff, do you have a prepared statement to go along with that preview of Reavers of Midgard?
Of course. Gray Fox Games, quality games cleverly crafted. Also, from the moment we're thrown into this world, we're fated to bring each other nothing but pain and misery.
Sounds about right. Sums up my whole life. Pain and misery all around. That wraps up the episode. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to listen in on Friday where we discuss player interaction in competitive games, what types of it we like and don't like, and how we feel it works best or doesn't work, and things like that. And yeah, it should be a pretty interesting little discussion. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Skinless Jeff.
Ugh. Yep.
Bye.
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 Goddamn Broncos. It was a tie game. They had the ball. Case Keenum goes and throws a pick, and now Chiefs have the ball and are moving down the field trying to take the lead. It's getting pretty gross. Our defense is playing pretty good, though, from what I can tell.
So that's Climbers XL.
Sorry.
That's
I
fine.
saw the interception
Okay.
update on the phone.
Sorry, no, just the way you were saying, like from what I can tell, I was like, Adrian, I swear to God, if you have that video up again, no, it's fine, it's fine. That's yeah.
Punchboard Media,
where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.